Greetings, everyone. Rev.Hawksblood here, calling from that big island of Hawaii. I just got a comment in the background. And guess what? It is 9 o'clock right now. People, hope you're ready. Hope Tina's coming on. She said she would. She's been very sick, but luckily she's all right for today. But she's going to be going back in the hospital tomorrow. So hope she pops on soon. So I hope you read the title, what we're going to talk about today. And I hope you realize that over the past couple months, so much UFO stuff been going out on the internet and what's supposedly happening. Well, government's creating a UFO group to monitor and investigate UFO information. But there's a serious problem with that, which we're going to talk about today. But outside of that, I'm in Hawaii. It's been raining a lot over the past 2 weeks. I haven't been able to see the sky once at nighttime. So I can't film anything. Still dreaming about getting night vision glasses because, I could film thousands of things if I had them. So that would be the first thing I'd buy. Now, I'm not going to say names, but there's a woman that took over after Ed Grimsley died. He said he was killed because he told me a week before he died. But this woman's taking a lot of credit, fame, and all this stuff. And I talked to her once when I realized she was a fool because I started talking about what I seen. So that's reflections of this. I said, are you brain dead? I said, I know the difference between blinking stars and a beam of light shining at me. And she just went on about nobody knows. I said, you don't know anything. So why are you doing what you're doing? So people follow people. I don't know why. They have no clue what they're talking about. No idea where they're going to bring people as much as they accept them. So I hope Tina comes around. Let me just double check my Skype and see if she's around. She should be on in a couple of seconds, hopefully, unless she's having problems. She said she was coming on. I just sent her the link. I don't want to send her that link. I'll try it one more time. Sorry about this, people. Let me just get this link. I'm going to put it up in the chat room, people. If you want to come on, you got something important to ask or say, please do. Just stick it up on her site. All right, let me just get rid of the screen, and I'm sorry about that. I just had to get a few people caught up. So let me get back into the chat room. I'm putting a link up, and this link is for anybody that has something important to say. A lot of people think they do. A lot of all these UFO speakers out there telling people stories about stories. Hold on one second. It's one of those days, I can tell you right now. Well, basically, they just released that the government created a group of people, and they're supposed to be analyzing all the UFO information. But over the past, I would say, this past month, they've been releasing information about how all this stuff is Chinese drones. Really. Russian spy ships and things like that. Really. They can't prove it's a UFO, so they're going to say it's a Russian or Chinese ship. Really? I don't know if you're out there in the real world looking at and watching UFOs. It's very easy to do because they're over us all the time right now. And I got everybody in my neighborhood watching them, seeing them. One friend of mine, and this is no lie, just about 2 weeks ago filmed, it was down by the ocean, which is only about a half a mile from my house, of 12 ships coming out of the, when it was the ground of the ocean, he was a little bit far away, so that is not distinct, but they shot up, came about halfway in the sky, went around in like half a circle, and then shot straight out into space. But he recorded 12 of them. Right now, he's afraid to put it up. He's afraid to do anything with the video. I said, you put it out there, nothing can happen to you. You hold it on, and guess what? You can become a prisoner of war. John Ford, people, check it out. If you're in the UFO world, UFO people are afraid to deal with them. I was trying to, but sadly, FEMA came. I went in a person's house who was working for FEMA, and they said to me, don't even think about going to see him. They'll kill your family first, then they'll kill you. And I'm not lying about that. And that was when he was first put in jail. All right. He filmed the best video of a UFO crash ever in history. And I saw it. It was on Long Island. I could go into the whole story, and it's a really important story. But nobody in the UFO world seems to talk about it or even try to get him out. Every year, he has to go for evaluation by the government. They come in and say, well, we have to reevaluate him again. And when they say that, he's locked in the nut house for another year. But he had about 4 or 5 lawyers already tried taking the case. It was right the day before court. Government came in and says, well, we can't go to trial. We have to reinvestigate him and analyze him, which is bull. But they're not going to let him get out, because if he gets out, he'll release the video. But see, basically, he sent 4 copies. Those 4 copies only get released when he dies. So obviously, they're not going to kill him. Even though these were taken in 96, he should have released them right then and there. He would have never went to jail or the nut house. All right. But since he hid him, the government was afraid of him. I don't know if the government actually saw any of them or any part of it, I meant, because I did. And it was incredibly clear, which you do not see on anything out there in general, especially when it's a close-up of a ship anywhere in the UFO world for the past 50 years. So check it out, John Ford. Yeah, they're going to lie about his story. The story that was put on the news on TV in New Jersey and New York was ridiculous. Said he had a barrel of uranium and he was going to kill people in government with uranium in their toothpaste. You know, the most ridiculous idea. You couldn't even do that if you wanted to. And people accepted it and let it go. And the UFO people are afraid to deal with them. Well, there's a reason. But now, dealing with him, nothing can happen. He's not going to release those videos. He can't. Luckily, I saw it about a week before he sent them around the world, not the United States, so that they could stay protected. But, you know, people might not ever get to see them. Unless he died tomorrow. They would put him out there mainstream, which would be cool. Because there's nothing out there still to this day. And that was 1996. He's been in the nut house since. So that's what government does with people that have any truth. Never mind in my world. I don't know where Tina is. Hold on. Let me just double check. She said she was coming on. Tina, are you out there? I don't know where she is. She's blocked. Well, I will do the best I can. Hopefully she'll come on. She's been sick, and they're doing all kinds of tests on her. I told her 2 years ago, we've been doing a show a long time. I said she's affected by radiation poisoning. People, if you get abducted, you will be in the same place. If you get really, really abducted, you would be in the same place. I don't know, maybe they protect some people from radiation, but a lot of times they don't. So a lot of people just die without knowing what the sickness was, why it was caused, or whatever. But the symptoms of radiation are multiple. Even one of them is scary to have. Losing your fingernails, losing your teeth, losing your hair, passing out. And so, again, the symptoms are there. If you watch Silkwood, I guess Cher was in it, and she was affected by radiation and what they did and how she died and all that. Check it out. It's true. Radiation is almost incurable, except I just sent Tina what they're using in Europe. They're prepared if radiation bomb hits the country, what they would give the people to help them break down the radiation in their body. Whether it works or not, that's a different story. But I just sent a link to Tina this morning, but I don't see her or hear her. I don't know what's happening. I I don't see her in the chat room. I hope she's okay. But people, she's dealing with all these symptoms. I mean, she's been losing a tooth every other month. She's been losing her fingernails. Hair's falling out. But when she falls, she fell down. She was black and blue from her toe all the way up to her thigh. How do you get that black and blue? All right. I mean, and not even really breaking the bone and things like that. So whatever's going on in the body is super strange. I asked a bunch of scientists. Not one of them got back to me yet. I guess they're afraid to step into that because the government has to be watching it. Her story is incredible, people. That's why I stay with her and keep her on my show. I read her book. She goes into everything. I don't want to go into her whole life story. Well, she's not here. She needs to do that. But when we first came on, and I said, that's radiation poisoning effects. Her dog died months later of radiation in the bone. How that happened, who knows, whether they abducted the dog with her or not, whether it was just the radiation exposed from her to the dog. But I feel they're protecting her. She had it for a long time. And you don't live that long if you're completely radioactive. But let's go on to what's happening right now. I tell people I'm on the internet at least 10, 12 hours a day and night. All right. I'm writing letters to every UFO person out there, but they're all in space and believe this and believe that, say this and say that. Some of them are super famous and they got nothing important to say. Lou Elizondo claiming he worked for the government on this and he pulled out of the government, but I hear he's still part of the government. So he can't say anything real, and he doesn't. I mean, he was just on this show about UFOs. They went to a country and they said they see a lot of UFO sightings, and he went out there to meet them. But again, he didn't say anything. He wants to see things, but he doesn't talk about it. He's still talking about Tic Tacs. Really? Do we need to? I released Sergeant 18, who's now changed his name, and I released pictures and a video and different things of ships from 1996 all the way till 2002. We're still alive. I don't know why. But again, he suddenly had a lot of money last year, pulled back, and recently he changed his name and took everything we did for the past how many years down. The video of the TV show that we did was just taken down, and it was on since 1996, and it was only taken down about 5 months ago. I did a show with Terry Cassidy for 9 months, and he was my co-host. That's all gone. All right. So his sites, everything he did, said, and all that are gone. His last prophecy, which he bragged about over and over on every show he did until he stopped, was in 2034. Jesus comes back and kills Lucifer. Well, a super ridiculous statement. It's his story, his belief. That's fine. He said he talked to Jesus. He said all these things. I challenge him a lot. All right. I'm not going to go into that whole story. But people in the UFO world that are talking out there are not telling you anything important. By that, saying there are good aliens is delusional. Now, the biggest name in the UFO world, I guess you would say, would be Stephen Greer, because he's been involved with the word disclosure for 25 years. And what did he expose in 25 years? Nothing. Nothing important. Now he's creating a giant center. Somebody's giving him money. People are. I wonder why. To build a center so that all UFO people could go there and go to class to learn how to talk to aliens. There's big name people out there that are taking the UFO world to La La Land, meaning a place that doesn't exist. Caroline Corey put out 2 movies. I think she put out a 3rd one, and tried to get into clones and crossbreeding and walk-ins and all that. Like, it's a good thing. It's never going to be a good thing, people. It's not by any means. anything beneficial to the world or the people that live here. Aliens have never did anything important for the human race. Since the beginning of time, they were at war with each other always. How many races were here on this planet, came and went? The Egyptians weren't spiritual, they weren't advanced beings or any of that. Sorry, the Mayans, the Aztecs, all the same. They were still doing sacrifices and you name it. They were pathetically sick, controlled by aliens, not gods. Go back to the first time religion was created, which was Hinduism, and they were working with so-called deities. Deities are real, but they don't work the same way as anything else, as including especially aliens. Aliens play games with the physical reality, like what they did to Tesla, what they gave Tesla, what Tesla brought out to the world. Everything he created is a destruction to the planet, not a beneficial thing at any level, people. I know the facts. I know truth behind it. I saw his personal notes. I was up where he worked with DuPont. A whole city was flooded, put underwater. For 9 months, UFOs went in and out of the reservoir. You don't hear that? You don't hear UFO people talking about that ever. The most important story in history, because it also was involved with the Philadelphia experiment, which created the Montauk Project. Thing. It's all connected. And it's all how we destroyed the planet and are destroying the planet. Oh no, they don't know much about global warming. They know about it. Weather change. It's created by the human race, not natural. I'm not saying things happen naturally. Of course they do. But you add power to it and change directions and you do all those kind of things. I'm not going to go into those details. That's what the government's doing with what Tesla gave to the U.S. government. Do you know about anything about a directed energy weapon which the United States is using? Do you know what kind of weapons are on our submarine, our ship, and our plane? We have the biggest ones on the planet. And they have the most dangerous weapons out there. And nobody knows what they are. And they shouldn't tell anybody. We are number one, and we will always be number one until the world's destroyed. We will be number one helping that. Look what they did to the native people. Look what they did to the Quakers. Look what they did to a lot of different people inside the United States. The witches were kind of wiped out. Anything that didn't fit into the program, rich fools were not considered people. The whole Constitution is based on rich assholes, people. Do you understand that? Well, the Constitution, my constitutional rights. You don't have any rights. You got a programmed idea of what you think is right. You don't have free speech. You don't have the right to protect your own home. You don't have rights to do what you want when you want to. And with abortion and all those words that they have no right to interfere with, you accept it? My good friend Sean David Morton, he became a sovereign citizen and was teaching people how to become sovereign citizens. He also discovered Area 51 people for real. He was in jail for a couple years. He just got out. He's dying. Well, he's fighting it the best he can. He put out his new book, people, Sands of Time 5. If you didn't read 1, 2, 3, 4, read them. It's probably the most important information in the UFO world that's real. Not stories, not hand-me-down stories from other people, dreaming of things that could happen or want to happen. I join a lot of sites, not because they're telling the truth, because I want to put my links up there when I can. When you hear somebody telling what they think, it's useless. I don't tell you what I think. I tell you what I know. Aliens are not good. Aliens don't help people. Aliens don't do good things. And I can prove that 1,000 ways. I was working with abductees when I was 18 years old. All right, women that lost their children. I saw the sonograms. I saw the proof. And those people didn't come out and brag about it or talk about it. You lose a child, no matter how you lose it, it's not something you want to talk about. And if it's by an alien, what are you going to do? Government, you're going to help me? Of course not. They're not going to help you. Tina's favorite sentence: nobody helps her. God didn't help her. The government doesn't help her. All right. So what do you think is going to happen? There, yeah, hypnotist. I was a hypnotist when I was 14 years old. Bye. Hold on. What? Bye. So I learned things that very few people learned. I became a high priest at 16. I was doing ghost busting. I was involved with all that stuff that nobody even talked about. Being a witch in general in Jersey, they put signs on fences. If you know a witch, put it on this sign and we'll burn down their house. I'm talking about Jersey City, New Jersey. A friend of mine back then was a wrestler and a lawyer. Seriously, she was a super big woman. But she went to court and made witchcraft a religion. All right, getting back to the UFO world. What is happening right now? All the false information you can be fed. What's this and what's that? Now there's a new show on. I'm not going to go into it. I just wrote him a nasty letter. I don't need to watch your bull stories. You get assholes that claim to be investigators, top investigators of what? A top investigator of Bigfoot. You never saw one. We're never next to one. So how could you prove anything about it? Oh, this hair's from a gorilla. This hair's from a monkey. How do you know what kind of hair a Bigfoot really has, dumbass? Are you really believing these people? Sadly, you are. Another person, I'm not going to say his name. He's maybe a billionaire, I'm not sure. But he's building a complex for aliens to land on. Why? He thinks he builds a super complex, they'll come. It's like, build it and they'll come. No, they won't. Not to his base. You think they need to talk to the government and president? Not no more. We're in war with aliens right now, whether you realize that or not, people. All right. The facts they found about aliens in Mexico are incredible. Thousands and thousands of artifacts explaining alien history, the Earth's history, and carvings of aliens and different things like that. Everywhere. Thousands and thousands of them. No Joe Schmo carved them and stuck them underground. People, you need to look at real facts and real history. Oh, what? There's no such thing as real history. There isn't. It's twisted to mankind's desires and ideas. You know the saying, you put 100 people in a room, tell a person a story in the beginning and have them pass it around the room. You'll never get the same story by the time it gets to the end of that circle. Never. People judge words. People have a concept of a word. Even love, hate, anger. We have reasons for it. Well, he's a drug addict. He's this and this. I mean, we each have our own perceived ideas of a word. And when you put it in a story, you get multiple theories of what you believe those things are, and you create a new story. The Bible was written by man and his ego. The Emerald tablets are different. Sumerian tablets and all those other tablets that people claim are important and stuff. What did they tell us? To believe anything about the Anunnaki, is it going to help you whether it was real or not? They didn't create us, people. You can believe what you want. They aren't related or working with God at any level. No alien race is. They're below the human race, people. They got super high tech, and as long as they play with technology, they'll never move forward spiritually. Hold on, let me let that guy in real fast. He'll be bugging us. Come on in, Mr. Giggle. Come here 1 second. Say hi to everybody. Hey, coming up here. Say hi to everybody. Say hi. Hey, I didn't say bite me. Hey, look over there. Say hi to everybody. Over there. Get to look up. You say hi? Okay. You can leave now if you want. So, technology has nothing to do with spiritualism. Supercars, super ships, super submarines, weapons have nothing to do with God. All right. So, weapons have been used since Atlantis went down. Who's been forcing weapons on us? In the beginning, it was certain alien races that did. The same as they programmed us to be killers, programmed us to kill and eat things as well. In Atlantis, we didn't eat animals. No, we didn't. We didn't eat insects either, which everybody's going to be eating real soon. But here, people, women were never accepted as anything important for almost 90,000 years. And today, it's not much better. Women don't even have their own rights to have a child or not have a child. It's their body, nobody else's. Are they going to tell you how many times you can have sex? Are they? Are they going to tell you, 69 was outlawed in many states? Like they can tell you how you can have sex? Really? And go to jail for it? On top of that? Mankind ego is so delusional and sick. It's mind-boggling. Because people accept it. Are you ready for the truth? Why are aliens here? What do they want? Nobody knows that. Everybody wonders what they're really here for. Oh, what are they going to do? It's not that hard to figure out, people. If they wanted to talk to the president in public, they would. They'd land in front of the White House. Almost, was it 1, 2, 3 times in a week, a fleet of ships over the White House. Mr. Truman said, uh-oh, we got to do something about that. Created MJ-12. But they didn't do anything. And it wasn't Russian ships at that time. It wasn't Chinese ships at that time either. There is a difference between UFOs, planes, drones, and any other word you want to use. I don't care what country you go to, China, Russia, any other country as well. Their drones aren't super high technology where it can go into a beam of light and shoot out and come back and all those kind of things. No, they didn't discover that ability yet. All right, they're not that high tech. And it's technology. It's not anything to do with spiritualism. But when you see a ship, well, how do you know it's a ship? Oh, that's a satellite. Satellites are little. Most satellites are not bigger than a matchbox or even a lunchbox. Sure, one of the first ones were built the size of a trailer and things like that. But that's still small when you're talking about millions and millions of miles out there. And we see it going by over our house every day? No. All right. And here's one thing you need to realize. More things are seen early morning. All right. But here's the thing. If you think everything's a satellite, go out in the middle of the night. If you see anything, it's not reflecting the sun. Period. All right. So it can't be a satellite. Satellites don't need a light. They're not looking where they're going. All right. A few satellites have a blinking light on them, very small light. And it's powered by what? Radiation, people. Do you know that? How their ships have been going for a long time? Radiation could power things for radiation lasts for 100 years. I was living next door to a person that was in the Army, and he had a lot of devices that ran on radiation. He had floodlights and warning signs and exit signs made with radiation as the energy source. But here's the thing, people. Radiation is a problem. Where is Tina? She said she was okay. I don't know where I got that message. It seemed to disappear. How's that possible? I'm looking at a site that said she was okay and she could come on and she's going to the hospital tomorrow. Oh man, I don't even see it. I worry about her. She has the most important UFO story out there. All right. And where is she? All right. Because it's her. And the things that happened to her prove something's incredibly wrong. I'll say this. She went into a story, but she had something inside her. And she went to the hospital. And they cut it out. They filmed it. They filmed all the operations in England. Sadly, they wouldn't let her see it. And she went to court. And in court, they said it's too controversial to see it. Hi, Tina. Well, she's not here. So how's that possible? Your own body, you can't see what they're doing to it? What they did to it? What came out of it? Well, guess what? It was probably an alien that they couldn't show, obviously. But are you ready? Are you listening to what I'm saying? I'm not like all the other assholes in the UFO world. Sorry, people. Oh, I believe this. I think this. I know that's a satellite. Did you ever see a UFO? Were you ever next to one? And say, oh, it's a Russian ship or it's this or that? Did you ever see an alien? Well, anybody that plays with a nuclear weapon are way behind the time frame. Nuclear power was always here for a long time, but they got a hydrogen bomb, neutron bomb, proton bomb, electron bomb, and they each do different things. If you had a brain, if a nuclear bomb, because why do you want to destroy the cities? Truthfully, why do you want to destroy all the people too? See, I always say in 2 wars or 3 or 4 wars we had, why don't the 2 people that are in charge of the country fight each other? Let them box it out and kill each other. Whichever one lives, that's who's going to be in power. But for them to make people fight for their stupid ignorance, and you don't think people are objecting? Look what's going on in Russia right now. And they're getting killed as well, which is even scarier. You don't have free will anywhere. You don't have rights anywhere. The rich fools took it over. Now, I'm going to put that at a spiritual level or religious level or the truth. Now, I'm going to quote a phrase from a man that was here, that was really here, that was not an alien, that never said he was, never said he was God. His name was Jesus, for a name that we use. All right? He never said he was God. But he said this, people. In the Bible alone, which was written by man, it's easier for a camel to go through an eye of a needle than a rich person to get into heaven. Meaning rich people don't go anywhere. And they reincarnate over and over. But so do evil people. All right? So why do you think the populations is growing? We got aliens reincarnating into this world now as well. People. How many people talk about that? Nobody. Because they don't even know. I was involved with, I won't use the word spiritualism, a spiritual quest I was involved with all my life. I had 5 death experiences. I learned how to leave my body, travel, meet with deities, gods, you name it. The truth is, there's so much more important stuff going on in the other realms than in hell, where we live. This in the astral plane, there's a difference between here and the astral plane. You cannot kill anybody in the astral plane. You can't. Well, I'm not going to go into that in detail, but you can't. So when you leave this realm and go to the astral plane, and you get to stay there, you'll be doing things and working hard, but not in the same way here. You'll be a certain age, which you like. You'll look a certain way. You don't have to eat if you don't want. You have to do things if you don't want and all that. And you might think you're in heaven. But negative energy is still there. Negative thoughts are still there. And that's why a lot of souls have to come back to planet Earth, into hell again. What's that have to do with aliens? Aliens are dying. Maybe they live 500 years, 150 years, whatever, but they die and they reincarnate as a human because an alien's not developing anyway spiritually. Technology does not connect you to the word spiritual. I don't know what happened. Everything that Tina had up disappeared. I hope she's okay. I feel she's going to be the top speaker in the UFO world if she lives long enough to stay there. Doesn't get taken or by aliens or government. You know when you put too much truth out? Why I'm still here? I've been protected all my life. I'm not saying the government couldn't take me out tomorrow, which they could. And I know that at any given moment. But when I was dealing with John Ford, I never went to see him. I wasn't worried about me. I was worried about my family. When your family gets threatened, then you're in a really bad place. So UFO people, if you're really important, you don't need a family. And you shouldn't have one. Because they will be the first persons threatened no matter what happens or what goes down. But if the government wants to take you out, you are taken out, people. Billy Myers, you said he was 21 times they attempted to kill him. Lousy people, they got a bad shot. You don't shoot him in the chest in a steel plate, you shoot him in the brain. All right, and that's what professional gun people do. So when you hear, well, I was like Stephen Greer, oh, they offered me $2 billion to walk away from the UFO world. What a moron. Anybody that believes that is just as stupid as he is. How many people would give him $1 million? They'd give it to their family and take him out. I can't, but most people that had a brain and is dwelling in this reality would do that. For that kind of money? $2 billion? Let's see, what could they do with $2 billion rather than take some asshole out of being what he's doing? Sorry, people. I'm so angry because we have people giving him tons of money to do ridiculous things to try to reprogram the human race. He said aliens are good. Really? They take your child away. That's good. He never been next to an alien, never been next to a ship. Really? So what's he have to say? Nothing. Well, this person said that. This whistleblower said that. And all these whistleblowers have zero proof as well. Even Lear. They have pictures of him being a janitor. Oh, he was a space scientist and everything else, but he was a janitor? I guess he got his degree while he was working online and became that. People, you can go to every UFO conference out there and listen to stories. They might sound good, but how important are they? Are they going to help you in any way? I'm trying to give you information that could help you at different levels, depending how far you want to move forward spiritually. I can't talk about spiritual things much with Tina, and that's why I do a couple shows outside of this show. We are in a sad place. Is anybody ready to look at their life, see where they're going, see why they're here? Why do you think you're here? To listen to Trump order you around? For what reason? To get abducted on a ship? Oh no, they don't abduct people. Oh, they don't? What do you believe, people? The lies, more than you believe the truth. Why is that? I can't figure that out. People will pay anything for a lie. Pay $2,000 to go to a UFO conference for 3 days. Would they give me $5 to listen to something really important? Of course not. People, your mind is programmed. If you're listening to this, I give you credit for at least listening. Yeah, we know the Powerball was $1 billion. Good for them. Now, what do people do with lots of money before it corrupts them? Now, I know a couple of years ago, the two boxes for it, each one got $150 million. One of them built a church and a school with his money right away. Doing one thing bad to do one thing good, does that justify it? What's it, to get to the ends? Does it justify the ways to get there? If I kill 100 people to get to the end, does that make it right? Well, aliens do what they want. They don't play by our morals, ever. They don't know what our morals really are. Sure, they watch us. So what are these idiots going to do today? When people die, aliens love that. People, do you understand? Every war that ever happened, there was always alien ships around it. Even Vietnam. And friends came back and talked about it. Go online, type Vietnam people that saw a UFO, things like that. Well, did they kill everybody? No. The whole story about in Africa when the ship landed and the whole school went out to see these aliens and they walked up to them. Did they get anything? Were they given anything? No. Except to rearrange what they think for the rest of their life. Now, if you've abducted and implanted, they are watching you from then on for a reason. Tina removed a couple of different implants already. Had a boyfriend remove one. So, why do they care what we're doing? Well, why would they come through space for me? Well, I'm sure there is a reason. There's a reason for everything, people. Whether you realize it at the moment or not, even it's part of your past karma, past lifetimes, why you do certain things. I didn't want to do that. Why did I do it? Why did I kill that person? Why did I do anything? Because the mind is not who you are. And there's a famous person, well, claims to be, talking about we're not this, we're just a consciousness and we're the mind. Mind is not soul. Soul is not mind. But scientists are trying to prove the universal consciousness is what we are. No, we're not. Buddha never went beyond that. Buddha never met with a higher realm, in the higher realm with any higher deities. I mean, because he didn't talk about a God, didn't believe in a God. He talked about reincarnation. Why would you want to reincarnate? And then even Buddha said he would stay here until the last soul leaves. Where are they leaving to, people? He puts a message out there with only a partial truth. All spiritual people that claim to be spiritual do that. I don't claim to be spiritual, but I'll give you the answers for that. Why are you here? To have sex, to have family, to have beautiful homes, cars, boats? What? To make a new invention, to make whipped cream? What are you here for? It's hell. You get to see people die, sick, get hit, scrunched, and all those kind of things. Is that heaven to you? If you're seeing that all the time, why do you think you're being forced to see it? Because you didn't rise above it. When you rise above it, you leave it. This is my last incarnation. I will not come back to this world, hell. I will not stay in the astral plane either. We can get into the silver cord, but that has nothing to do with aliens. But people, with what's coming out, all these information, just go online. Watch all the new UFO shows. Watch, the new groups of people being formed to understand and debate and analyze UFO information. You got zero proof of anything, and you're going to analyze that to prove what? Now, the newest show, I mean, is it real or not? And then they have these so-called top people in their field analyze it and they come to a decision what they think it is. Who gives up? And you know what? If it's a real ship and you're going to say, oh, it's a freak of nature, it was a streak lightning or ball of lightning or whatever you want to call it. It was a Russian drone. I mean, oh, it didn't do what it should have and all that. It's sad people follow and believe this stuff. If you ever see an alien, your life will change. If you're ever next to a UFO, your life will change completely because there's nothing bull about that to you anymore. Never mind why they are meeting with you or coming near you or any of that. People, when I was next to an alien when I was young, I was with my friend. and we grabbed sticks and bats and chased it out of the house. It didn't kill us, but the ship took off and everything. That's only one thing. When my brother was in the hospital having his tonsils out, and I was too, he was screaming. I went over the window. This giant ship was not that far from the window, shooting this beam in. And I put my hands on the glass window and stared straight at the beam of light. It stopped, and the ship shot straight back out into space. I was only, 6.5 years old. From then on, I realized who I am, what I can do, and what I can't. I can't make people believe anything. Jesus couldn't. And matter of fact, they twisted everything he taught. Sorry, the Bible is half truth. Events and time frames are kind of in between their phrases, what was going on. But they don't know why Jesus came here. They don't even know what Jesus was really teaching. If you read all the other books found over the thousands of years after, like Thomas's book, Mary Magdalene's book, and all the other manuscripts, Judas's, a lot of other people, their books and what they say about the time frame. A lot more truth in what they talk about, because it wasn't edited by somebody that's controlling what they're saying. Judas's book was found. Billy Myers claimed to find Judas's book as well. Within a 1.5-year time frame, his book that he said he found in a cave and the book that somebody had for 100 years spent $1 million to piece it back together. It was almost dust. And it took a year to piece that back together. So, whose book would you rather believe? Billy Myers, who was programmed by aliens and did a lot of ridiculous things in his career, or somebody that had the book and spent money to put it back together? Billy Myers said he had the book and he was trying to get it translated, and that families were killed around it and all these stories and stuff. So he put out the Town of Jamad, the book Town of Jamad. And it's his story of Jesus by his translation. Jesus wasn't an alien, people. Psychic abilities did exist, but nobody has them today. 1%, like Caroline Corey, claims she could levitate a piece of paper. When I was little, I was trying to levitate a pencil for a long time. Out of the psychic abilities, there was a few I couldn't work with or manifest. Levitation was one of them. But it was the only one I truly wanted. Thought projection and all that was easy. But trying to levitate something in this reality, for me, it didn't work. I'm not saying people, I don't know anybody that really can. I was a magician for 25 years, stage magician, as well as I wouldn't say black magician, a white magician, I would say, high priest for a better word. But levitations in the magic world are incredible, but they are fake. Now, there was a show on that maybe about a year ago. Guy had a lot of money, traveled the world to find somebody that can really levitate something. He ended up going to Tibet, up a mountain, into a temple. And the Lama, whatever he was in one side of the room. He said, you have to stay there by the door where he came in. He levitated about 2 or 3 inches off the ground. Really? Levitation, for it to be real, needs to be done in front of you, and you need to be able to go around it. Because you can't. Not in stage magic. David Copperfield did incredible levitation tricks. One of the best ones I ever saw all through history in the magic world. I was in it for about maybe 35 years total. But he levitated. He had these rings going around him, and then finally he levitated up and went out of the theater out into the sky. One of the greatest levitations ever done in public. Was he a super being and floated and traveled through space and stuff? No. People believe what they want. Magic is a deception. Stage magic was created for that. To give a person's mind the ability to think crazy. Oh, man, I always get itchy when I do the show near the end. So I'm not going to bring out my Geiger counter because I'm not radioactive. And Tina's not here. I am so sorry. Again, people, I'm sorry. Well, you know, I was next to a Bigfoot, so it doesn't bother me at all hearing this stuff. But when scientists say, well, it wasn't a Bigfoot, it was a bear, it was this, it was a gorilla, it was this, it was that. Guess you were never next to one. And comparing hair. Well, this is dog hair, this is that hair. How do you know what kind of a hair a Bigfoot's supposed to have unless you have a Bigfoot and you're comparing it? You can't compare something that you don't have to something that you do have. You know, what's going on? But comparing something to something else is ridiculous. All right. When it comes to Bigfoot, they're real. I was next to one, less than a foot. So yes, they're real. But the idea of proving it to the world, why? Once they know there's a Bigfoot out in the woods, what do? Go out and try to hunt it down. I mean, there's a few states that have a law saying you can't kill an unknown beast. But you could say, oh, I thought it was a bear. And if you do kill it, would you go public unless you wanted the fame and fortune for killing a Bigfoot? But I don't want to go there. It's sad because they're not here to help us. They didn't help the native people, even though they say that too. You know, people claim things and say things. No proof. Some person creates an image in a person's mind and it's accepted. And when I was learning hypnosis when I was 12 years old, when I was dealing with Kreskin, his wording was, it's the power of suggestion. When aliens abduct a person, their technology to program a person is so much better than we can on this planet. And that's why there's all these UFO experiences coming out of the woodwork. Oh, I was in my bedroom and the aliens came to me, took me up on a ship, and they didn't do anything good. Did they feed you real good food? What was it? Did they show you anything and let you take it back with you? Of course not. Why? Why do you think? All this time, we don't have anything important that aliens gave us. Why would be that? If they were here to help us. The pyramids didn't help anybody. People to believe they're super high tech. Yeah, but for what? Nothing to help the human race. All the energy, all the shows on pyramids are useless. All right. You know, over the years, I mean, I watched Ancient Aliens when it first came out. Every year, it's no different. Same stuff over and over and over and over. Well, it was high technology. So, guess what? Means they didn't do it, did they? Oh, no, they had... And then you get the atheists that prove that, oh, no, it had to be men moving a stone. And how? Why? Mr. Wolf, if you got something important to say, say it, please. Oh, here she is. I don't know what happened.
Oh.
Hello.
Hello, Tommy.
I guess a little bit late, but late better than never.
Oh, it's because we're having major storms here in England and very high winds, and they've been having power cuts. We are due to have rolling power cuts, but not to the end of the year. But we're having power cuts because of the storm. So if we lose connection, it is probably because of the storm here. We're being battered by high winds and rain. We've had 24 hours of rain today.
Well, two things. Greetings. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're okay for today.
Hello, greetings.
But do you have a cell phone?
Yes.
Does it work, right? Did it work during the storm?
No.
Okay.
No, because it affects the power mast. At the moment, I've only got 1.5 bars. So that goes down a half a bar or no bars at the top there. So
I'm 6 miles from my satellite antenna, and I only get 1 bar. I go a couple blocks up, I get 2, 3, and then it
Yeah.
goes to 5G.
Well, I'm on an incline as well, so I'm at the bottom of a hill, so that's even worse.
6 miles is the limit on kind of straight level land for a cell tower. So, but so you want to talk about? I don't know where to start, but can you stay
So,
for a few
firstly,
minutes?
hello and welcome and thank you. I'm sorry I haven't been here for a few weeks, everybody. For those who don't know, I've been having a heart medical problem at the moment, and I've not been too well with that. And I'm due to go in hospital to see the cardiac team tomorrow. So I do apologise for my absence on Skype and on last few weeks for not being on mine and Tommy's show, as we are regulars, but due to ill health and serious ill health, I've been unable to come on, and I've had a flu, cold. So excuse me. It's not COVID, but it's not been good. So I've had a little bit of everything. Couldn't get out of bed for 4 days, and couldn't even talk. So I was real bad. But it's taken me till now to kind of recover. And tomorrow I'm going in hospital. So touch wood, everything will be okay for that. And they're going to try and first steps towards sorting me out, which is a great thing. Lots been going on in the UFO world, which I'll let Tommy fill you in a second. So again, apologies for the last few weeks of missing this, and hopefully it should be plain sailing now. Cross fingers. But there has been loads of sightings and different things going on in ufology, and there's also a new site. Tommy informed me earlier they're setting up a new committee, another one, to look into UFOs. But I'll let Tommy talk about that. So Tommy, over to you. But thank you for your patience, and I do apologise again for not being on last 2 weeks' show. Tommy.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here, Tina. I miss you. People, you know, I am on a computer at least 12 hours day and night.
Wow.
I pull up everybody's site, Stephen Greer, Richard Dolan, you name it, Skinwalker Ranch. I joined all the sites. I'm spending all my money, and I really wonder why, because people don't want the truth. I mean, if I was telling lies and Tina was making up great stories, we'd probably both be rich. She'd have a book out there, everybody be buying it, and everything already. They would say, well, let's hear that story. Well, a good friend of mine, Sean David Morton, just put his book out, and you need to read it. It's Sands of Time 5, and you need to catch up on all of them. It's the actual facts from the beginning of aliens on this planet working with Truman all the way up to the present. So please go online, pull it up. The government tried killing him. They had him in jail for years and everything else, but he discovered Area 51. He's a real important person, but he's not respected the way he should be in the UFO world. People, you know, Tina, to me, is probably the most important abductee in the UFO world right now. And she will be, as long as she stays alive. So, you know, with the government and everybody else clamping down on the truth again. You know, they say we're going to release the truth. We're going to analyze this. But what have they been flooding the markets with for the past 2 weeks? Everything they realize is Chinese drones. Are you that brain dead, people? Really? The technology they're going to put in a drone to fly over the United States for what reason? If we have things flying over us and the government doesn't take it down, we are fools. You know, when they flew over the White House, we had no technology to do it. We've been working with aliens for a long time. We have high technology, and we do have it. They can take down a ship, a missile, or a rocket anytime they want. And they don't. All these ships over us, all these Chinese ships over us every day, and they wouldn't take them down, wouldn't declare it. I know if we fly one ship over Russia, they'll take it down. They said it. I mean, they won't let us put chemtrails over Russia. There's 2 countries on the planet that don't let them put chemtrails over them. But they do drift in. They can't stop it from drifting in with the clouds and everything else. But people, are you following the facts or are you following the lies? You want the facts? Where are you going to go get them? Right here. Tina and I put as much truth out about what's really happening than any of these UFO people. There's no good aliens. When are you going to realize that? If they were good, they would help us. People, I've been so frustrated for the past week listening to these people go on and on about good aliens and all this is going to happen. And we're in the best time ever. Are we? You think the planet is the most spiritual, balanced, and peaceful place it has ever been, ever, right now? We're in a worse disaster. Never mind, we're going to be in food shortage, money shortage. Crime's going to escalate, which it's doing. Child slavery, sales, and all that are escalating. Where's the goodness, people? Oh, Mr. Pope, the Dalai Lama, love each other. We're compassionate. Really? Does that help the planet get better? Aliens aren't. If they were friendly and helping us, they'd be here. They would say, here I am. I can help you. But they're not, are they?
Tommy, your speaker's very quiet at the moment. Can you turn
My-
your volume up a little bit, or is it me?
Well, hold on. Is that any better?
Yeah, a little bit better, yeah.
Okay, sorry about that, people. If you're having a hard time hearing me, somebody should have put it in the chat room. People, I'm open for questions, not jokes. I'm sorry, I'm not a comedian. I never was my whole life. I look at responsibility of why we came here, why we need to get out of here, and what life is all about. Not the storyline. I don't go fishing. I don't go swimming. I'm half a mile or less to the ocean. I didn't go swimming in 2 years. I mean, I sold half my fishing stuff to move from one island to here, and I rebuilt it, but I never went fishing since. Because my time is dedicated to putting the truth out there. Not telling stories, not making money. All right. Tina's in the same place I am. But hopefully she'll get the money she deserves if she puts her book out and things like that. Seriously. I mean, she needs to be the #1 speaker out there. When way back years ago, when I first got involved with the UFO conferences, there was a couple main speakers that were really important, but they're all gone. All right, people that shot UFOs are gone. Now that one woman took Ed Grimsley's place, has no clue. She's super famous. She's on talk shows and everything else, and she doesn't even know what she's filming. When I actually debated her on the phone, which didn't last too long. Oh, you're seeing this, and you're seeing. Do you know the difference between a spotlight and a sun blinking, or the moon blinking, or a star blinking? Do you know the difference? They're different. If you see the sun blink, you're not going to say it was a satellite. If you see the sun blinking, you're not going to say it was a star, even though it is a star. But again, people are out there speaking, making money, taking your money to tell your stories without knowing what they're even talking about. She knows more about aliens than anybody else. She was next to him many times, not once. I'm not saying how many times they were in her dream as well, but in physical reality, in her reality. How many people can say that?
Lots of people say they see UFOs. I've actually been in more than one. But people want to believe. It's not a matter of believing. There's a difference between believing and... Oh, sorry, Tommy. It's like difference between believing and knowing. But belief is an act of faith without evidence, and knowing is knowing you've seen or done something, or knowing is physically seen, being there with evidence. There's lots of different things that do go on in the universe. Lots of things that are unexplained. We don't understand enough about death. We don't understand enough about spirituality and how human beings are and how we work. But if that's the case, then that's unexplained things, unseen things, like ghosts or images. People say they see ghosts all the time, and they believe in ghosts, but yet they don't believe in physical beings that visit this planet in physical ships. So, and it's a detriment. It's a detriment to mankind that the steps that people take. And now, Tommy, aren't they? There's another organisation now looking into UFOs again, isn't there? Is the government come up with a different branch? What's kind of happening with that?
Well, I think it was like 16 people. They're going to collect all the UFO information and try to analyze it and everything else. I don't know.
About 70 years to collect information.
You know, I sent you a link about that person who actually was given 100 abductee stories to evaluate, but see, they are doing it, but not for us. They're doing it for themselves. They truly want to know how many people are really getting abducted, how many people are really losing their children, how many people are really going through these things, but they're
So,
not going
what is their end goal? What? So, it's okay to say they're doing research and analyzing, and they're looking into the case. What is their expectation? Is their mind made up before they've done this? Is it determined how they're going to use the data at the end to determine what, to declare what, and what are the next steps? If this is a plan, where does this lead?
Well, here's the thing, people. I mentioned UN Agenda 21-30. That's where we're going. One world order. On top of that, all right, the UFO world is part of it, but they're not going to tell anybody that, and they won't go into that. But they want to tell people we're going to be told the truth about aliens. No, we will never be. They can't tell us the truth about them, because then we would realize what a farce and what a story that the government is. They can't go that far, and they will never go that far. Aliens could come here and say, well, we've been abducting your people, we've been working with your government. They could say that, and then people would have to believe it. But the government's not going to come out and say that. They're not going to say we use people, we sold souls out, people out. They can't say that. If you knew your government sold 10, like when they okayed 10,000 whales to be taken, 10,000 dolphins to be taken, 10,000 people to be taken, that was the number Truman decided on. 10,000 is a number that's accepted for a lot of different things. Don't ask me why.
That's 10,000 as a one-off, but then if it's 10,000 every week, every day, every year,
well,
those numbers add up.
Well, they're not going to tell you the truth on that. But in 1950, it was 10,000 people.
Well, let me tell you, in the last 20 or 30 years, I've seen hundreds upon hundreds.
Oh no,
of things like
that was then. Now, who knows? I see. I could go out and see 20 to 60 ships in an hour. So they're not here just to waste gas.
So no. So not the hypothesis. It's my understanding that we did not come from this planet, which is why they can't find explanations or anything else or whatever. From what they showed me, they made a mistake on the planet where we came from, and it imploded or exploded due to them. They like volcanism. There's something that attracts them to volcanism and water. So whatever that was where we originated from, they transferred to here, whatever the mess was that was left. So that's why we don't fit in. That's why they can't write history. That's why it changes, and why it changes every few million or 100,000 years. I mean, and this is probably their planet before we inhabited it. I mean, we're on the outskirts of a huge circle of a star in the midst of a vast universe. It's like chucking a stone in a pond. You could hit anything or you could hit nothing. People don't realize, so we are here. We are isolated to this planet. These people have technology. These beings have technology that is very advanced. Now, biologically, the little clones, the little vessels, whatever it is they choose, the little puppets they make to host their soul, what we would call our soul, our inner being. Everyone says we're full of light, and that we are. There's something inside us, our essence, whatever it is that we call it a soul. If it's a spirit or soul, they can move and transplant theirs at will. There is a trade-off, I think. But they choose to do that. That's not their true form. So they use these little puppet things to move around, have a longevity, to experience things as scientists or whatever they're doing. Now, we only produce ours, as far as I know, when we have babies, and we leave our bodies only either if there's an accident, or if is it dream state, I'm not quite sure, or we die. I bet the last one is probably right. When we die, we don't understand enough about death. They obviously do, or we've forgotten how to. That's the difference, I think, the main difference between us and them. Whether they're using us as research for that, I don't know. But, there's so many different explanations that are not being looked at. I mean, and then there's the other thing I saw not so long ago about time travel. If we did have time travel, and it's, what was that famous formula? F/1 = T. So it's frequency over 1 equals equals time. So if that's the case, you'd need something about the size of the Hadron Collider in Switzerland to produce so much voltage that could put you in a bubble to make you time travel. Whether that could make you move or you just time traveled in the same spot, I don't know. Perhaps these vortexes around the world are more than that. They spent more money at looking at that, and where UFOs do appear and disappear over these vortexes, i.e. like Skinwalker Ranch. Now, if that was the case, they'd have to have something producing that amount of frequency and something producing that amount of energy to be able to time travel. These beings that take human beings have the ability to do that on either one of these giant motherships or whatever it is you're looking at. They put you in a bubble and their essence maybe is in there with you. I don't know. You can only see forwards, and they show you. That's their way of time travel. You move up and down in their scale of things, if you like, in their Wi-Fi. To see different time periods or things that have happened in their past. And it goes back millions, if not hundreds of millions of years. So they've been at it for a long time. But there's things that they still don't know. So they have all this technology. Biologically, they can't produce hormones to embryonic fluid to the same level as a pregnant human female. So, but they have clone blood. So there are certain trade-offs along the way that, human beings, we don't understand enough about our own human physiology and biology enough. They obviously do, but there's stuff still with patches that they don't understand. And even with when I had a connection with the babies, with all these little clones that they were growing, they didn't know how I knew they were all females. There's so many bits and pieces that they still don't understand about telepathy or a bond with human beings, physical or biological frequency or sensory bond they have between a mother and a child. There's so much. They may be advanced, but they're not that much advanced. Technologically they are, but there's still stuff they don't know. Tommy.
All right, there's two things I want to bring up. I do a couple spiritual shows, the word spiritual, during the week. But I want to bring two things that are really important. One is time travel. Basically, Einstein said we cannot go forward and backwards in time. And everybody thought he was a super brain. Now, the other thing is, okay, time travel can change the reality, destroy our reality, which it's doing. And we have done it. All right, I was friends with one of the only people that I know that has really gone back and forth in time. And that was during the Philadelphia experiment. All right, which they do now. And I said, read Sean David Martin's book. He goes into great detail about what happened with that, why it was created, and all that. But history, mankind has no clue to history. No matter what they tell you, they don't understand. We do not know when the first human actually came to this planet. Never mind, there were different races brought here. And then before our human races, like you said, Tina, there were multiple races that were all destroyed. I mean, the ones that actually were involved with pyramids and stuff like that, those beings and stuff. The Egyptians were wiped out. The Mayans and Aztecs came and went in great numbers. So go back before that, when we went fast in between cavemen. There was humans and cavemen together, people. We didn't come from the cavemen. All right? So whether who created what doesn't matter. And it wasn't the Anunnaki. So you can believe what you want. But there was 9 races brought to this planet. Originally, only 4 races stayed. Black, yellow, red, and white stayed. And they're the only races here now. I'm not saying drones and all those other words that they're playing with right now. Aliens are ignorant. They're not spiritual. They're not smart. Technically has nothing to do with being spiritually smart. It doesn't help mankind in any way. I mean, if you want to kill people, it's a great thing. It's like toys. Man only creates toys. He doesn't create anything beneficial for humans. We contaminate our food. We try to clone vegetables and fruits and everything else. We take the vitamins and minerals out of it. We're not making things better, ever. Our water is more contaminated than ever. Our air is more contaminated than ever. So we're not making things better. So where's all these good aliens? Why can't they help us do one simple thing? Anything, something simple. Purify the ocean, purify the air, do something that's constructive. They need radioactive poisoning on our planet. They need the Earth to be radioactive. And that's happening, people. And if we do go into nuclear war, it's only going to benefit the alien races. That's why there's underground cities. Why is nobody on the planet in government talking about it? Billions and billions and trillions of dollars spent, and we don't hear a word about it. How's that? And why? All right, who are they working with? People, the facts are right in front of your face, and you still rather listen to some UFO. Well, they're good aliens. They're going to help us. We're going to be better than ever. How? Are we going to be friends with other countries? Are we all going to respect each other as a human?
So, would good aliens take hundreds of people, subdue them, and hang up like fish hooks in a row to examine them? Or would they kindly invite you to say, hi, we're here. Let's introduce ourselves. Let's sit down, talk like interspecies people. You may have a problem with language barrier because their mouths don't move, they don't talk, and they're very fragile. They're very quick, very small, and very shiny. But if that was the case, that there wouldn't be abductees. There wouldn't be people like me speaking out, telling you what has happened to them. They obviously do make mistakes, because if they didn't, I wouldn't be here remembering. So, and there's many other people like Travis Walton. I believe they took him by mistake. They did not know what to do with him. Whether they thought they hurt him, they were stuck, whatever it was, they took Travis, I believe, by mistake. But there are people like me, loads of women and men, may I add. I've spoken to loads of male abductees that have been in the same position as me. They remember. They've seen things. I've spoken to Whitley Schreiber, and and I've listened to his talk, read his book, watched the film. But people remember. They're doing something wrong if we remember. And then if we're telling people what we remember, then it's classed as we're off our heads, or we're lunatics, or it's lies. Well, we wouldn't be remembering. And, why would you want to make something like that up? We're telling you. But if we said, yeah, we met these aliens, they were really nice and did this, everybody would want to know. They don't want to know the truth. They want to know their version of the truth, the airy-fairy version in their heads. It's just they understand and know more than what we do. Tommy.
I just wanted to put something in the chat room. I was putting about these experiences that are coming out of the woodwork everywhere. Oh, I'm an experiencer. You have a bad dream or a good dream, and you turn that into a life experience, really? Well,
so did they experience being taken, and how many people were up there?
See, most experiences talk about it was a good trip. It's like, we're going to brainwash you, but we're going to give you a good trip to remember. Now, I was doing hypnosis when I was 14. It's easy to implant a thought into a person. I was able to do it at 14 years old. I worked with an Army hypnotist when I was 16, who was actually working with people in the Army, proving that you could hypnotize a person to kill somebody. Really. That's what he did in the Army. All right. So, the idea of an alien race, super high technology, all this advanced everything, you don't think they could program somebody really simple? But the problem was, we broke it down. We have a powerful mind and a powerful soul. We could break down that program that's locked in our brain. A lot. There's still things that are still locked in there, which hopefully we can get to sometime soon with hypnosis. I mean, I can't wait. I wish I could be with her. But I was thinking you could do it live on Skype and I could be with you that way. But here's the thing, people. When we hear an experiencer say, oh, it's a good trip, and that, ask them, where's their proof? Did they give them a lollipop even? Where is their proof? I know if I met a family and they were really great, they'd give me a jacket, a pair of shoes, anything. I work with a medicine woman. She gave me a whole bunch of stuff. If you're friends with somebody, and the word Indian given, people, is not bad. Indian given means in a native nation, if I give you a gift, you got to give something back better than what I gave you. That's Indian given, not taking it away. So even the concept that Native people had, they twisted it. They wouldn't let it come out any good way. But aliens aren't giving us anything, are they? Except weapons. If you love a country, you love people, what do you give them? Weapons? Oh, here's a nice weapon. Here's a nice weapon. How about a nice hamburger or an apple that's pure and
I
healthy?
mean, I'm torn. They give me a choice, but it wasn't much of a choice. They asked me if I wanted to go with them. They asked me if I wanted to go with them, and it was like a then and there kind of yes or no decision. And it meant that I could never come back to work, never see my family, never have a life here, and just be with them. And in an instant, I think I felt a pull back to like my family, my mother, and they took that as no, I wasn't going. And then they just showed me all these horrible images of how the earth was going to end and how I was going to die. So if you want to sit here and die kind of thing, then get on with it. Come with us and not really be a human being. If that was the case and they truly wanted me to go with them, they would want ambassadors to come back to Earth and say, this is truly what they're like. But that's not happened. That is not happening.
No, it's not going to happen. All right. My friend, John Edmond, who is dead now, killed last December, said he was offered to go to taken away. But he had 19 horses, and he told them, if you take all my horses, I'll go. They didn't want 19 horses traveling on a ship with them. What reason? They didn't need horses, but he didn't go. But, go where, to do what? What do you think you're going to do on a planet? You're used to a beautiful ocean.
They didn't show me. This is it. They didn't show me whether it was They didn't show me whether it was going to be on a planet or on a ship. They just said I had a choice to go with them, whatever that meant. They didn't lure me in any way. They didn't persuade me, and they didn't show me. I don't know what that meant. I had a choice because I could understand him. I think because he knew I could understand him. That's why I was being asked to make a choice. Whether that was to experiment, I could have gone with them and they could have tortured me for the rest of my life, cut my brain open and experimented and wanted to know how I worked. I don't know. I didn't know what I was agreeing to. And it is like a couple, to me, it was like a couple of milliseconds. It was like yes or no. I can't say I didn't think about it. I did, but it was like a split second. The second I thought about it, the second I want to be back home with my mother. That's what I think the emotion went through my mind. So they read your kind of emotion. And that was it. It was end of conversation. Well, if you're not going to come with us, this is what's going to happen. You're brave. You're going to die on Earth. This is what it's going to look like, and you'll live on. Part of you will live on with the children we have on the ship.
All right, I want to give you my viewpoint on that. All right, they got your children on their ship. All right, and that's important to them. So you're important to them as well. Most people don't get asked if they want to go on a trip and stay somewhere, because a lot of people leave and they don't come back. And we don't know what they do to them, where they go, or what's happening. They don't come back and say, oh, I had a great time. Oh, they took me to this beautiful world to do what? No, that doesn't happen. And I'm glad you didn't go with them. We'd never see you. This story wouldn't be here. But again, the truth is out there. We deal with it the best we can. We put as much of it as we can out. We're not liars. We're not cheaters. We're not thieves. We're not begging you for your money. I mean, if I wanted to be a beggar, I'd go out on the street. I'd probably make tons more money than doing this show. That's for sure. But people, do I look like a liar? Do you think I'm a liar? I was in many not many. I had 3 relationships. But I lived life doing the best I can for whoever I was with. And they respected me for that. Not that people could agree with, like, you got to do this, you got to do that. No, life isn't that complicated. We make it much more complicated. Aliens do not understand. So they don't want to leave. They don't want to leave this realm. That's why they live so long. That's why they stay here. And if they're that desperate to come to planet Earth, guess what? They didn't experience anything higher than that. I wouldn't want to deal in hell if I was in a better place. People think you become angels. No, you don't. A lot of people stay what they are, a soul, and have to come back here.
But to me, Tommy's right. Human beings are progressive to a point, and we search, we do understand, see things, and know things. But from my understanding, these beings have been scientifically researching the same things for millions of years. So they're either not moving on, stuck in a cycle, or using the same thing and something we don't understand. But just to answer Richie's question, Tina, I used to talking to the being. So how it works is to be honest, I don't. This is a best guess. Okay, so when they take, well, when what happens when they take me, or they're very close to me, like just supposing that they're in the room with me now, they're within like 10-foot range of me, I could understand if one was so close to me. We'd be talking already. It's like you connect to the Wi-Fi. It's like a scent or color, like a grey mist in your head. But once you're in their link, it's like it's like a two-way mirror. They can see you listening, and they know you're in there. And anyway, you're in the Wi-Fi. Within about 10-foot radius, if there was 8 or 10 of them, I could speak to each one individually or as a group. Once there's more of 8 or 10, it is like a quick fuzz, and it's like I can't understand what they're saying. It's too quick. It's very quick. It's so quick when they're talking amongst themselves. It's very quick. If you didn't strain to listen, if you were trying to just pick up one voice or just connect with one person and try and block the others, I could do that. I've done that. Whether they've allowed me to do that with the one that knows me, I don't know. But I do know that he's stopped me and stopped the others listening to me on more than one occasion. And Tommy, I've got to lay this blow at Tommy's door. I think it was last year. My memory's been bad lately. I think it was last year or the year before. Tommy said to me, go in the garden, meditate in the garden. He said, can you call them or hear them or understand them? Now, you don't want to tell people you can hear aliens and think you're a nutter or what have you. But so I did what Tommy said. I went out there for hours, nothing happened. Then something did happen. Now, they look at, if you went outside and saw a light in the garden, it's distance. You know, it's distance. You couldn't say, yeah, hello, I could connect to that. They're gone before you even know it. But it's not summoning them and calling them. It's being in the right frame of mind. And whether it's the frequency they're working or pick up on, or you have, or we have, I don't know. But if you concentrated and relaxed, perhaps that's why when they sedate you or subdue you, you're in a kind of frozen state of mind, and that's how they can communicate better with you. But they do look at people who can do that, because as we would look at a whining child. Now, I could go out there 2 or 3 days and do it, and they'd like a whining child, but they would come eventually, either to shut you up or see what was going on or why you were doing it. So they do view that as like a whining child. If they know you can do that, then they know that you can hear them, but you can't hear or see in the link from that distance. You have to be very, very close proximity to be in their link, or directly on a ship, or what we would call a ship, or yeah. So that's how it works. But no, this hasn't happened since that day, that night in the garden. Thanks to Tommy, and it's a bit scary, and I don't really want another encounter with them. But yeah, so that's closest I've got. What been to talk to him afterwards. You can get other things that do happen. If they're advanced technology, ask them to fix your heart. At least they would get something out of it. Well, I don't know if it's something that they did to cause it, because when I came round one day, I was on this table on this bench thing, and I was looking up at a weird angle on this bench. I didn't have any clothes on, and excuse me. And I went down, and I was like that, but I was sat up like that, and they had this thing on my tummy, and this is the same one as another time. There's blood coming out my chest. And I had some kind of machine. They were doing something in my pelvic and stomach region. I couldn't, I was only awake, come around for a few seconds. I could see what they were all doing. And the one that knows me was next to me. And the second he realised I was awake, he kind of stopped me seeing out my eyes. When you communicate with one of them, you don't see out your eyes. It's like people say get tunnel vision. It's a bit like that. And then when we stopped communicating, when they're showing you stuff, he was amazed that I could understand what was going on. Anyway, since then, a few years after this happened, I had to have a hysterectomy. And they told me it was going to be a small operation, not long, keyhole surgery, modern times. Hours and hours later, still in surgery, and it turned out that the surgeon told me there was at least 3-4 surgeons in there. And she said at one point, Tina, I was on top of you, both hands pulling the stuff out, and we could see your pelvis. The stuff was stuck to your pelvis, and your pelvis is completely obliterated on the inside from left to right with thousands of tiny needle marks, like someone stabbed you millions of times, thousands of times with this needle. That's what it looks like inside your body. So you can't fake that. More than one surgeon has seen it. It's recorded on TV because all operations are recorded. They obviously take pictures, and that's something they've done to me. They've taken parts from me, whether to take DNA from me. They've caused that damage in my body. Now I've suffered pain from that. I've suffered loss of children, not having children. Sorry, my dog's just limping. Sorry. So you do suffer things from that. So I don't know about fixing you, but if they've caused that, then if they were that intelligent or compassionate, they would have fixed it before they put me back, would they not? And they do have the ability or capability, because they gave me clean blood once when they did something in my chest. For all I know, whatever they did in my chest has caused this now. So I don't know. They're not sure. They have little feeling. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Tommy's right. They do know what they're doing. I'm not sure if they're spiritual people, because they can move. They move their. Perhaps that's why people, and they say, especially, they're so black and dark inside. It's like a black void. But because it's probably because they live in these like puppet bodies, if you like. And for some reason, my cursor is moving about my page. What's happening? My cursor's off and it's been moving around my page. I'm not sure how that's happening. So these beings, perhaps we don't pick up that they're spiritual because they're in these bodies. Perhaps they only hold essence. Perhaps they don't have the ability to show empathy or compassion or anything like that. Perhaps there's just room in these bodies, these automated bodies, whatever they are, for just the soul, and that purpose is scientific exploration. Perhaps so. It's like a one-ended telephone call to a child's toy. Maybe you're having this conversation, but the child's toy can't show the empathy. It has. They may be very spiritual. They may not be. They may. It's my understanding, and from what I've seen, they have very little compassion. They are not like us that way, but that's only because I've seen inside one of my, when they cloned the little baby that I had. It was a spitting image of me, but it wasn't, and I had all my memories in as a baby until like between 8 months, 8 months, and 2 years. There was a cut-off point. And I had all my memories, understanding and things like that, but it was black inside. It had no feelings. I think they don't either understand or can't understand our feelings. They act on our feelings as if we've spoken to them with feelings. So I don't know how they interpret it. Perhaps it's a different type of feelings they have that we don't pick up on. I don't know. It would be interesting to know more about their vessel. Well, what would you like to know? So there are different types of vessel that I've seen or been on. They showed me the one that knows me. I've only been allowed to get up, I think, maybe once or twice, and I've been sedated and controlled from behind. The floors, I look like a grey, brittle concrete. But it was weird walking on when you can't. When you walk around, it's like you're numb to everything, so you can't feel a lot unless they let you. It's like you're controlled from behind. So when I went up and touched one of these pods, it was cold. It was very cold. It was cool. And yet, when they got one of these babies out and they brought her over to me and held her up, she looked bright pink, and she took an image of what I looked like, and I looked pink in the face. I looked flushed. My hair looked a mess. I looked awful, but I looked hot. But I couldn't feel anything at the time. But it was also when I touched this pod, when I touched this surface, whether it was the water in it, what the material this pod was made of, that I had direct contact through this surface with all, not just one, they were all connected like a little hive. They showed me the energy they used on board this ship, and how it went round. And I've done a little drawing on that. You can see that online. There's things that they can't do with this ship. When they took me to this, they showed me where they was going to take these pods, the babies, and they took me on this thing like to Saturn. It looked like I was strapped to the front of a rocket in this bubble thing, and they showed me the course that this ship was going to take that had all these embryos in. And when we got there, it looked like it was nothing man-made. It was monstrous. Man never made that. Once we were on board this thing, it was huge. It was the other side of Jupiter. And when we were on board, there was another little white one. It was smaller. And I held my hand up like that. It made me hold my hand up to. There's a huge, long, dark hallway with all these, it all looked black, like a blacky grey. And you put my hand up, and this drawer opened. And as a drawer opened, a light came out, and they had trays of these embryos, and just this section had millions or thousands of these embryos in, but they were all mine. But they were taking them somewhere, and they showed me where they was taking them, and there was like a turn. And they showed me all these 2s and 0s where it was gone so fast I couldn't remember. I lost count, and they showed me these symbols, and it was just like someone pulling a cord through your head. And when we got there, it turned out that they can't fly through or move through a thing called black space. I don't know what that is. And I said to them, why, because we went down and up. It was like a turn. And then as we came up, we were at the top, and this thing was here. And they said that they couldn't fly through black space. I don't know what that meant. And they showed me this planet, and there was a little moss green planet just before it. And he said the babies are going to look like a black planet with some distant dim light either behind it making it like that, or we were in the shadow of the planet. I don't know. It looked like a little bit it was missing off the top of this planet, but they were taking the babies there. They could go underwater, and you have to be relaxed to get on and off there, on and off when they take you with the light. So I think they have to subdue you before they can get you on board. So that's another thing I've learned. I think they have, because these things aren't. They show me that is not their true form. They're like the one that knows me. Like the taller one, the little ones are like the little jelly babies. They're not supposed to talk to you. They work with him. The one that knows me, there was like 3 of them he worked with, and they were very cold, quite happy to let you die and move on to somebody else. But he made them fix me, whether it was for scientific reasons or another reason, I don't know. But they need something from us when they clone us and take something from us. It's like they need us to have that emotional or physical or biological pheromonal frequency bond with that baby. So that's why my book, when it does come out, it's called The Bonded, The Truth About Alien Abduction, because they didn't give monkeys about us. They just need what we can do. So, there's other things you learn along the way. They're very quick. They work together as well, not just one type of different species. The ones I saw in my bedroom, they look something like you'd see in the Australian drawings. The closest thing I'd seen to it. They're a little bit. They're a slightly different shape. They look like an 8-year-old child, very small, thin, but they don't have the round bulbous head. They have a head like a ridge, like that, like a biscuit tin, like that. And it looked like a bandage on it. It looked like mashed potatoes stuck to the back of it. It looked weird. And so it was only about that thick, like the circle head of the body, and the neck was in the middle, and it was very, very thin. And when it bent down to move, it was the hips were seemed lower at a really weird angle. So that was one type. That's the one that took me when they was putting me and my partner back. So they didn't want to connect. It knew I was awake, and it didn't want to do anything. It didn't want to talk to me or nothing. It was just there. The little ones, all I can compare them to is, I don't know what to say. There's like fierce little Ewoks. They're not friendly or furry or something like that. They mean business. So that's them, and they're the little white little ones. And I haven't really seen inside one of them, but they sense us as a threat. They don't hate us, but they sense us as a threat. They don't like us. So we're a direct threat to them, whether it's our behaviour or physically. You could physically overpower. I know anyone could. I think a 10-year-old kid could grab one of them, but they're so quick. And I think that's why they subdue us before they take you. And they subdue us with a frequency and a pheromone in light. So I don't know how that works, but that's something else they have. What else? So the one that knows me, I think he's chosen to be in that body. He's very old, very, very old. But I've I've seen two others that they seem to be a lot older, and they had like huge heads with a tiny blue vein here and in their stomach, very thin legs, like this thin, very short, stumpy lot with a little pot belly at the front, and I look very, very old. And once I saw a little, really, it looked old, but it didn't look right. It looked like an orangey browny colour, and loads of wrinkles on it. And it was but it was with the other little white ones, but it wasn't white. That's the only other time. And apart from that thing that was right around that panel, that huge like snake, whatever it was, thing, I haven't seen anything else apart from that up there. But I've seen loads of human beings up there. They're all awake but asleep. They weren't moving. They weren't talking. They all looked stunned and sedated. Their eyes were open, and lights were on, but no one was home. And I can't be the only one that was awake. Whatever they do doesn't affect me fully, or they've used it on me so many times you just become used to it. I don't know. When you're in direct light, I think when the light touches you, you've just buggered. But when you come out of that, or you're far enough away from that, you can hear them. Whether that light activates you hearing them, or it's a distance, it's a proximity of those beings that you can connect with, like a closer frequency, if you like. I don't know. But all I can tell you is what I've experienced, and that's been it. So sorry, Tommy, you can take over. I'm just going to read a few comments.
All right. There's a couple questions in there about linking the governments around the world are playing that game now, even though they have the technology down. The United States created 6 super soldiers 25 years ago that I know of. They were about 8 feet high, had glowing green eyes, and they had all abilities. So, and that was 25 years ago, people. All right, now China and Japan legalize cloning animals and humans together. So, I mean, they already cloning animals and insects, but now they're going to clone humans and animals.
Shouldn't mess about with nature.
So, mankind is ignorant about nature. They don't respect it, never did.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the native. See, people think the native people respected it. They didn't. They would have wiped out all the forests in the United States if the native people were allowed to keep growing the way they did. They burned down forest after forest and moved to another place to burn down the forest there as well. Everything had to be burnt with wood. So, we're not as spiritual or high tech as everybody wants us to believe we are at any level.
And as well, people don't understand that I think I get a lot of the environmental people, and we have done physical damage to this planet. There's no two ways about that. There's no question about that. But there's other things that play. The Earth is like a washing machine on a cycle. So you will have volcanic eruptions, you will have poisons in the atmosphere. But what people don't start to realise is the moon has actually started leaving the Earth's orbit. That will affect our planet. That will affect our weather. That will affect radiation. That will affect tides. So it's not just us. There's other things that people need to take into account that's happening to the Earth.
Well, you can believe different stories. I can't guarantee anything, but the basic story is it was brought here for certain reasons for the planet. All right, that it's not a real planet. All right, why are we there? Why are we inside the moon? And why is there a base on the moon? All those things. There's reasons that we're not going to find out in our lifetime. And not that anybody wants us to either.
I don't know what the title of it was. I read a spiritual book one day. It was about because I like religious history. I like any different type of religious history. And, you got a bit of diversity. I'm not just, I like to, hear other things. And it was a very old book. And it said what they called it, like the morning star rose. And then this thing called the moon appeared. And it only came out at night. They couldn't see it during the day, and it just arrived one day. So there you go. And this thing, there used to be like two suns or another star in the morning that exploded and left the moon. So,
well, history is a bunch of fake stories to me. Now, what you just said, how about cavemen were going around raping their wives and women, whatever you want to call it at that time frame? And one guy actually looked up at the sky at nighttime. Wow, what's that? A lot of them didn't have reasons for anything other than food to eat and pleasure. Most people live on that today. All right. Do you think they care about all the satellites and UFOs and everything that's in space above their head right now? And we're talking about now. We're not talking about thousands and thousands of years ago. So, and they didn't have speech. They didn't have a lot of words. Ugh, 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 ugh. Okay, what did they say to each other? I mean, I was just asking my partner about dogs. When a dog barks, another dog barks, but do they actually understand why that dog is barking? I said, at some level they might, maybe not. I mean, if we were listening to a Russian speak over there, would we understand them? So do dogs have a different language per se? I don't know. I'm not a dog, and I don't understand it, but I know my dog understands a lot of what I say. So when a dog barks, I listen to what's going around. When people walk in the neighborhood, one dog barks and they all start barking because somebody's coming down in the neighborhood and they know that. But when you hear a dog screaming, whether it's being beat or hit, then you hear all the other dogs howling and screaming. So I guess they can sense that. But we're talking about ancient time to the present time, where we have a lot more words, the ability to understand the words that we create. But here's the thing. Aliens speak all languages. Why do they understand whether they care what we say or not is not the issue, because they don't. If Tina said, stop it, do you think we're going to listen? I mean, they don't care what we say. And somebody said about feelings. No, they don't have feelings because they're not self-realized yet. All right. I don't want to get into the real dark end or the real truth behind spiritualism, because most people don't and aren't ready to hear it. They rather believe. I know you say
they don't understand enough. They're just beginning to come to it.
Like I said, you like to say that. I say there's people on this planet that know everything about death, everything about reincarnation, everything about the realms of God. Very few people want to talk about that. Christians, which is 2.4 billion people, don't want to hear it. 2.42 Muslims don't want to hear it. Then you got they don't want to hear it either.
The post office. What does that mean? Sorry, Tommy. What does that mean, Rich? Tommy, the US can't run the post office. Oh, right. Sorry.
Well, I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but everything done on this planet is done for money. Nothing is done for anything outside of that. If I'm going to deliver you a package, you're going to pay me for it, and it's going to keep going up. I mean, when Trump wanted to stop the post office,
sorry, my hair tonight. Just so you know, I'm going to send your birthday card, Tommy, early, and your Christmas card because we have about a month. No, we have about a month of strikes in November planned from the post office here in England. So if I don't post your card within the next week or so, you're not going to have a Christmas card or anything. No mail's getting in or out. So if you get it early. Just know that I'm not crazy. It's that because there's a month's postal strike between now and the end of the year.
Strike for? Money? They're not getting enough money. What's the reason?
Well, it's they privatised the postal service. There shouldn't be an issue with it. The government used to run it, but there's more stock. There shouldn't be an issue with it. But again, it's about pay. Loads of things are stopping here. We've had so many illegal migrants from around the world just turning up here. Hundreds per day, every single day, not just from war-torn countries, from safe countries. There's NHS is going down the hill. Nurses are striking. Everything's shutting down. We're having rolling power cuts. So from December, January, and February, we've been told that they're going to be 3. So if you can't get hold of me December, January, and February, it's going to be 3 to 4 hour power cuts, either like at midnight till 4 in the morning, 8 in the morning till 12, or 12 till 4, or 3 till 7 at night. Depends what area you live in. Sometimes it could be longer, and if it gets worse, there will be no power on. So I've got a garden burner, I've got a gas hob, and then I've got to go out and buy a little electric cooker just in case the gas and electric go out.
Well, what about the freezing cold stuff?
Well, they said everything's fine in the fridge or freezer for 12 to 24 hours if you don't open the fridge or freezer.
Oh, yeah. Well, you don't eat for 2 days. Don't eat for a day. Guess what? That's a ridiculous thing.
Slippery slope.
But it's a part of UN Agenda 21, full control over people. And I know they're going to start doing it in the United States as well. They already talked about that.
I'm going to do this now because I'm having a heart thing put in tomorrow. So I won't be able to get anything electrical around me. So we're going to do our little thing tonight because I won't be able to do it next week because I'm having this. I think it's going to be on me for a week as well until the cardiology people can figure out, because my pulse has been, I've got a thing called bradycardia. So where your pulse and heart rate gets so slow, you just stop beating and they can't do anything to speed it up. So it goes from 1 end to 100 down to like 44. So that's the problems I've been having. I've been sleeping something terrible as well. So we're going to do this tonight, as next week we'll be able to do it, guys. So this here, I'll read off exactly what it says on the front. Tommy has the identical one in Hawaii. It says electrical magnetic radiation tester. So this was Tommy's idea, actually. So I got this on Amazon. There it is there. That's what the back looks like. And I got it. It was about 20 English pounds, 18 pounds, I think, 20 pounds. This is my second one. My first one I dropped last Christmas. I think Christmas was last Christmas. Dropped it in the tea or something. So I'm just going to turn mine on there. Now, normally, the further I hold it away from me, it doesn't beep. But when I hold it close to me, so at the top, you will see volts per meter there. So that says volts per meter, and that says microteslas. That's electrical magnetic field, and that's electrical frequency field there, isn't it? So away from me, so Tommy's is flashing. He does not have a smart screen computer. I have one that doesn't give off electrical magnetic radiation. Tommy's does. Now, when I hold this towards me, I've got nothing else on my phone's there, and it doesn't even go off near my phone. Oh, there you go. Just near my phone, there you go. Doesn't normally do that, but when I hold it towards me, so I'm just going to come slowly towards the computer so you can see the numbers. So I'll put my phone like that. Move my tea, catch my tea over. Now you can see the numbers. The second I put it towards me, go up. So I know human beings can give off a field. Don't know if you can see that. Now notice electrical volts per meter is not going off. It's a microtesla going off, and the little red sign you get. Tina, harmful.
I just learned something by what you said. My meter is like 100 and 120, right? When I bring my cell phone next to it, it drops down to 30. Seriously, now it's down to 15.
So this is so that's my phone. So I'm going to put my phone over there. Now this is me.
Okay, let's see how bad her radiation is the day before she goes to the hospital.
Yep. So I will just buzz it.
Can you bring your head closer to the screen? Yeah, okay. Because then we can see what it is when it's on you. It's a little bit hard to read that. But what is it? What do you see on it when it's next to your head?
That is saying 12, 0.12. That's saying 26. Let's go this side. So it's
again,
you got to get the right bit.
I have to keep my
So there it is, yeah. So it's going there. I don't know if you can see that. It's a glare on the screen.
This is mind-boggling, and I say it every show now. When I got my Geiger counter in front of my face, mine's at 217 on the top right now. But when I put it over on Tina's face on the screen, my bottom went up to 48 right now, 58. All right, on radiation, just by going 1 inch over on my screen to her face. How is that even possible? Nobody can answer that. And I'm doing it right now. If somebody was here, they could see it directly. It only goes up when I put it over your face. I could go on the other side of the screen and the radiation disappears.
So for all I know, I don't know if that's permanent damage from them, something that's happened to me. I have no idea.
Tina, whatever's going on with this radiation thing is crazy.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if the heart people pick it up tomorrow at cardiology.
Are they going to actually test for it?
I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do because I had an appointment and they cancelled it saying it's not going to be till next April. Then my doctor phoned him and said he sent him, I had a couple of ECGs, he sent my ECGs and some of my readings they've been doing. And he's like, no, you need to be seen. And they wrote to the hospital and phoned the hospital and they brought my appointment back earlier. So I'm seeing someone in the clinic tomorrow. And I'm having some type of device fitted tomorrow, but non-invasive one.
Well, I wish you luck, Tina. I think about you all the time. I seriously do. What's going on? This radiation thing is mind-boggling to me. And I've been dealing with you for 2 years. And for me to get radiation put in my right over your face, it goes into radiation. How is that possible? 1 inch. I'm only talking 1 inch of the screen. I go on the other side of the screen. It doesn't do anything. Go back over your face and it goes into radiation, 50. So, something is chemically, mechanically wrong. How that could happen. How yours goes up and down. Radiation doesn't go up and down. Every aspect of what's going on with that is crazy. So, I mean, when the science is ever going to release to you the truth behind that, if they ever get to the point of trying to understand it.
I mean, for all I know, this is something that's happened because they've done something to me, taken me somewhere, scanned me with something, done something to me. I don't know.
Well, I don't know if we're going to ever get the answer, you and I, but
perhaps it's just negative people that have been abducted that get this because the airy, fairy, positive light people don't seem to have radiation poisoning.
Well, I wouldn't say that. No, that's not the reason, but we don't know any.
Next time you speak to experiencers, say, have you had radiation poisoning? Were they not evil enough to give you radiation poisoning?
How about they weren't really abducted? Unless you put in a spacesuit and protected and all those things, I could go into that. I know scientists that were actually put in spacesuits and injected before they were taken on a ship. All right. So yeah, there's things that they would do to protect you from radiation. They've
asked me to go for my fourth flu vaccine. I'm not going. Freezing up. Well, I'm not going.
Please don't go for any more.
No, I'm not going.
They're proving that it actually connects to. I can't say it. I don't want to say it. We'll lose our show.
Yeah,
let's not go there. Erase that. Don't go into that. They don't want that out there. But just follow the facts, people. It's online everywhere. Big corporations are coming out and admitting things. Read it. Not every company's lying because they're putting things out there.
Before we go, is Elon Musk launched that thing yet? Has NASA launched that rocket yet?
I don't even know. I think they did. I'm not sure.
I haven't heard any coverage about that from anywhere.
It was supposed to go up last Saturday, and who knows if it went up or not. I don't know.
They have a little trick now because the Earth is actually the moon is actually moved away like a couple of millimeters each year or centimeters, isn't it, from the Earth?
Well, don't forget, we're in an oval shape. We're not round. We're going to the elliptic state, and that's going to change everything. Never mind.
Yeah, now I'm feeling really hot. Flush since I've had that.
But you know, every time we have a super tsunami and stuff, it moves the whole planet. So all these things are together important. Alone they're not. What's changing the weather? What's causing it? Not just nature. People, wake up. We are doing horrible things to the planet every day. And who's making us do it? Energy. We don't need energy. The United States has enough fuel to run on energy, a gas, if they wanted to for the next 50 years. But they don't. I mean,
see, a lot of things people don't talk about in the UK. Like they just started. They told everybody get electric cars. You can charge them free at certain food stores.
Places, right?
Now they're charging them. Then it turns out you've got to buy one of these rechargeable batteries at £500-600 every couple of years on top of the cost of charging it. Right. And then they've got to burn coal to produce electric for you to charge it. And the second you put like your cool air on, you lose 10 miles. So, and then they're stopping production of fuel. So it's absolutely ridiculous. And then they're saying you don't charge your car if you've got rolling blackouts. So how are you supposed to get to work?
Well, let me tell you this. There's a lot of lies every which way about that. But Biden's enforcing a bill, which is already in effect. It's been in effect. We have actually gone down from 24% to like 19% of using gas to make energy. So the idea that we're going to have to use gas all the time to make energy is a lie, but they don't want to admit that either. All right. We're in a state where we get fed the stories they want us to believe so that they can give us and sell us whatever they want.
Right, Tommy, it's that time of night that I'm going to disappear. Again, guys, thank you for watching and coming on the show. Please keep asking questions. I do apologise that the lateness today with signal and the storms in here in the UK. And I do apologise for being ill for the last 2 weeks and not coming on the show. I feel a bit bad that I had to let Tommy down, but I've been so ill. But I'm hoping to see you next week with a bit better news. Guys, keep looking up Tommy. Any more UFO news? And if this asteroid doesn't hit us and kill us, we'll be back next week.
All right.
I'll speak to you later. Bye, guys. Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, it's always a pleasure to have her on. I'm glad she's okay to be on. But let's hope she's okay tomorrow and they give her better results and help her better than what they have been doing. All right. You know, she's been going through all these symptoms for over 2 years, about 2 years, and I know now. So hopefully they can do something to help her. I sent her a link of a pill that they're saving in Ukraine in case they do get hit with a bomb, how to fight the radiation and stuff. So yeah, before a while ago, there was nothing they could do to help a person that's exposed to radiation. Technology came a long way. I should say it's coming a lot of way, but it's people that do their own research that are finding out. Peroxide, baking soda are incredible cures for a lot of things, and I can't go into it, but they've been here for a long time. They were invented for a reason, and even that reason's disappearing. But till next time, people, send this link to everybody you know, please. We got to get people to listen to the truth instead of all the lies. Anybody you know in the UFO world, tell them to come on. I'll debate them because I know they're not telling anything important about truth, about what's really going on in the world. All right, till next time, Tommy Hawksblood here from the big island of Hawaii. Enjoy your day, enjoy your night. Don't stop searching for the truth, ever.